Hello, welcome to the stream. I'm just gonna test the desktop audio here. So I've noticed in previous streams that the sound didn't work, so let's see if that actually registers here. Whoops. There we go. In previous streams that the sound didn't work, so let's see. Okay, now it works. Great. Awesome. I'm just gonna check the settings here for the stream just real quick. All right. There. Okay. There we go. All right, so let's get started here. Alright, so I've been busy thinking about what to plan for these streams, and I've made a bunch of progress on the planning and to what to have in the game and stuff. So one thing that I want to start with is abilities, and I'm gonna have double jump. That's just how it is with Metroidvania. So you're gonna get a double jump, and well, most of them anyway. But the double jump that I'm gonna do is a little bit different. So, well, there's gonna be like two parts to the double jump. Maybe I can explain later. I don't need to explain everything about it right now. But yeah, I do have an animation for the jump and the double jump. Well, I haven't actually made the actual animation data for it, but I do have the graphics. So let's start there. And then I've also defined a whole bunch of stuff with that we can do later, which is like global state, all the things that we need to include there, that we need to keep through scene transitions. And so yeah, so that it doesn't get like reset. You can think of this like things that are probably gonna be just stored in a save state. That's what's gonna end up in here, which is like quests, inventory, equipment, health, upgrades, ability, spells, stuff in the world as well, like NPC states, which dialogues have you done, which quests are available and stuff like that, which bosses have you defeated, and completed cutscenes, yeah, all of these things. So there's gonna be a lot of stuff there. Then I added some things to the NPC. So I've added a bunch of NPCs that we're gonna also add. Well, we won't get to everything this stream, but I'll just show you a bunch of the planning that I've done here. So more to the dialogue system here as well, and menus, of course. We're gonna have menus as well and stuff. So we're gonna have a quest, adventure log. That's the only menu that I've defined here. But of course you're gonna have some stuff like showing your inventory and equipment and everything like that. So yeah, but we're gonna start with this jump animation. So I'm gonna go ahead and yeah, we need to create the actual animations. So let's go in here and we will open this up. Okay, so wait, this is the wrong entity. Or yeah, need to go with Pissling. So we're gonna define a jump animation. Jump. Finally. Oh, I need to also export my sprite sheet. Here. And we'll read all that. So now we have this. And I think the jump animation, maybe we'll start, I don't know, with this. This. Whoops, that's the wrong size. Let's fix that. And, you know, something like this. And then the last frame, let's just make the last frame longer in this animation, so we'll see sort of how it looks. I don't know if this is a good, maybe we should skip this middle one. Yeah, okay, so this can be the jump animation, and then let's save that, and then we'll do what else? Oh yeah, one second, I wanna share this stream as well. Let's see. Wait, how do I? Yeah, I think I'll just go to my channel there. Okay, I'm just gonna quickly share this on Discord here. All right. So let's go back here. So yeah, so we got the jump animation. Now we need to have the double jump as well. So this is going to be double jump, or yeah, whatever. Let's have the hyphen in there. And this one's also 16 by 32, and it's going to have this part here. So it's gonna just be, I guess it's just gonna be these two, I think. Or maybe even only this one. Because, yeah, this is like the double jump animation, I guess. Yeah. And that's it. So let's save that. Just to have it there, and then we make another animation which is got like double jump, and where it's gonna be like you're gonna take, I think it's this one. Yeah, it's like, whoops. Okay, there. So it's like dissipates in the air. It kind of lands here as well. Maybe I should call it land. Wait. No, yeah, because the idea is he's gonna... No, wait, it's gonna disappear. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and then you're going back to this, I guess. So let's have the last frame longer as well, so you can sort of see how it will look like. So once you've done the double jump, and you reached more elevation, it's gonna like the leaf is, well, it's materializing first, but then it's gonna disappear in a magical sort of flash here. Because it's like a magic spell that you're casting, sort of. Well, this is not land. This is more... this is more like... Yeah, let's do leaf, or... let's just call it end. Yeah. Okay. But then the last frame is kind of weird because it's like going up a little bit. Maybe we should change the origin. to go up then 2 pixels or something. Maybe the jump frame should be further down. Maybe that's just the issue. Let's like I'm just gonna quickly move this down 2 pixels. Save, export. All right. Reload. There we go. Yeah. And then when he lands, it's gonna like, yeah, to go back to idle or whatever. Okay. So now we have double jump, which is basically just instantly, I guess, spawning this. Maybe, oh wait, maybe we can like materialize it the other way around. Actually, let's try this. Yeah, maybe like that. Wait, this is the other way around. Right? No, it's not. Okay, it looked a bit weird, I guess. Okay, but anyway, let's have it like that, and that should be fine. So this is like double jump, start, and then we have double jump end. So I guess it kind of depends. Like you can hold down the button to have this longer, and then if you release, it's gonna make it disappear and you'll land again, or you'll yeah. Okay. So we have those. Was there anything else in here? I don't think we had anything else for this one. This is the new graphics. Okay, so let's now go to our game code and whoops. Oh yeah, I renamed initial scene to game because that was way more fitting for what it has become, and now I still search for initial scene whenever, because it's so ingrained in muscle memory here, but yeah, it's called game, so that makes way more sense. And what now? So excuse me, turning this off here. Okay, so so how would we do this? I think, well, first of all, let's like define these animations that we have, the new ones. So we have jump, we have double jump start, and double jump end. Now, if we go here and we go to handle input, so yeah, this is where we do stuff here with the inputs. There's a lot of stuff here. So here's kind of our jumping logic. Now, we probably should have, yeah, I mean, of course, we do need to have some sort of state that says, have we already double jumped in this jump? So let's go to the player component and we'll just add this state here, has double jumped, and we'll set it to false to begin with. Okay. I mean, technically, I guess you could, no, because we don't have the jump as a state. Yeah, it's a separate thing. So this will be reset once you touch the ground again. So let's figure that out. So on collision. Wait. No, here we go. So, oh yeah, we have these debug stuff going on here, so we don't need that. We fix this issue with landing velocity and stuff like that. Alright, so let's see. Now, this we know that if last on ground is false, we know that we have actually landed. So what we could do, I mean, we could either have this if here. So now we know that we have landed, and we just call like a function, or we have the logic in here directly. Let's just have it here directly, I guess, for now, and we can figure it out. So if last on ground is false, that means we have landed this frame, and what we need to do then is say we need to reset this to true, or I mean false. So alright, and that kind of resets that. So once you've landed, this gets set to false again. Now, but we also want to be able to enter a double jump state, sort of, so to speak. So let's go back here, and what's happening here? So we check if jump input is on, we check if we are on the ground or if we are climbing. So if this is true, then we know that we can actually perform a jump, and then we perform the jump. But now we also have to check if we want to do a double jump. So if we say if we are on the ground, or wait, no, in none of these cases we are actually performing a double jump. So let's actually do an else here for now, and we'll see what we need to figure out. So we actually want to check, are we if this is on, that means that this is false, which means that none of these are true, which means that we are not on the ground and we are not climbing. So that's perfect conditions for doing a double jump. But we do need to check if we already have performed the double jump. So we need to go into player component, has double jump, and we need to have a not there. So now in here we know that we can perform a double jump, or that we actually want to perform a double jump as well. And now I think this one is edge detected, yes, so that's perfect. So now we basically want to do the same thing here, except we don't really need to check for the climb state because we're not climbing. Yeah, and then we just add another jump. Now the question is, okay, is it gonna be like is it gonna be exactly the same strength? Well, I don't know. Let's make another function called player double jump strength, and we can now adjust that if we want. And we can even make this double jump factor. Yeah. So now we can adjust this, and let's adjust this to, I guess we can say, let's try 8. Maybe that's very low, we'll see. But I think now technically we should be able to enter a double jump state. We don't have the animation yet, but let's just see what happens here. And we need to restart because of this bug keeps happening. Okay. So that's a normal jump, and then when I do a double jump, yeah, you see, we can actually do a double jump now. Oh, and we can do multiple double jumps. Oh yeah, so I'm not actually setting. Yeah. So good thing we tested that. Of course, we can set this to true, and then next time we cannot actually double jump again. Now let's see if it works. Well, let's try again. I really need to fix that issue there. Okay, so I'm trying to multiple times, but I can only do it once now, and once I've landed I can do a double jump again. And now we can actually hear the sound as well, which you couldn't do. I thought that you could at last stream, but you couldn't, so now you should be able to hear the sounds. Okay, and yeah, let's see. So for one, the double jump might be a little bit too low, but I mean that's gonna be sort of a, well actually, is it now? I mean we're simply adding an impulse. Do we instead want to set the y velocity? Because depending on the velocity, like yeah, if you're if you're doing this, you're simply braking in the air basically. Yeah. So let's fix that. It's not gonna be apply impulse. What it's gonna be is we're gonna set the velocity, and the velocity is going to be well, the x component is going to be the same, so we'll just grab the velocity x component, and then the y component is going to be different, so this is going to be basically this part. And I will remove that. Wait. Oh yeah. So I need to save. Oh, I forgot the comma here. There. Okay. Right. So now this should set the velocity instead of just adding the velocity. So let's see if this actually is a good measure here, or amount that we can. Whoa. Interesting. So that's maybe. Okay, I see. Because impulse takes mass into account. So we should probably take mass into account here as well. So what we are going to do is we're going to divide this. Wait. So we're grabbing the mass here and using it. Oh. We're adding the mass there. Let's. Do we want to do this for normal jump as well? I feel like we don't want to do apply impulse. I don't think. I mean, it's always, this is always going to be the same for like y is always going to be like 0 here, so it doesn't really matter. But I think if we do this, then we don't really care about that. We don't need to worry about mass. Oh, also we need to make this double jump strength as well. So let's actually remove mass, and that way we can just use the factor itself. Okay, so let's just use player jump factor instead. Jumpo factor. Player double jump factor. Okay. Right. So yeah. So now we don't need to worry about mass there, and now we should go. Now we should be back to the strength that we had before on the jump there. Yeah. Yeah. Now we can see, even if we're falling, we still get the same sort of velocity. And if you're trying to double jump like this, you're gonna get this thing. So yeah, this is exactly how you would expect it to be. And even it works as well if you wanna hold it continuously. You can do like a slight tap to make it just go up a little bit, or you can hold it to make it go to the maximum extent that you can be. Okay, but I think the balance of this, I'm just gonna increase it a little bit, and yeah. So let's do like, I don't know, 9.5 maybe. I don't know. I'm not gonna sit here and because I'm not really sure exactly how I want this to work, but I do want to have this ability, so yeah, I mean, that feels, it gives you a boost. It makes you be able to jump longer and higher as well. So here, and right, so now let's look at the animations, see if we can tick something off here. And we don't have the animation. We do have the double jump ability, but we don't have the actual animations. Okay, so let's go back to this part. Now let's just try and set the animation here, or we could let's see, when we set things to idle, like we have a catch-all thing down here where we're setting things to idle, but I don't think we want to do that if we are in the air and jumping. Intends to move. Not intends to move. State is not equal to idle. Not attacking. Not equal to hurt. And player component. Wait, well, you do want to cancel. Well, actually, maybe we could set the state to idle, but we're not actually. Yeah, we're not actually. Well, we are idle in the animation part, but we're actually jumping. So I think maybe where we set the animations, we can do that. Let's rename this as well. We're dealing with sounds here as well. So when we set this to idle, we want to know if we are jumping or not. So if player on ground, we do this, else we say jump. I'm not sure if this is a good way, but let's just see if it works and we'll figure it out. Okay, we get a crash. Did I not define this, or is it missing, or what's going on? Animation, reached unreachable goal, get animation, unreachable, okay. I'm just gonna double check what I call this animation here. So this one's called jump. And then, yeah, so that should exist. Well, actually, it's not gonna loop, is it? Well, it doesn't really matter here. It's saying, basically saying that it doesn't exist, I guess. Get animation, yeah. So it goes in here and it doesn't exist, so that's weird. Oh! I need to import the animations again. Okay. Okay. Man, there's a lot of spamming in on Twitch. Okay. You can see we got the so when we're landing again. Well, one thing is kind of weird. It only works sometimes. Yeah, there you can see. Oh, because we're walking in the air. Okay. We're not gonna be able to enter walk state while we're in the air, so let's go back to handle input. And yeah, here, if we're not attacking, well, the direction can change. Yeah, if we're not walking and we are on the ground. Right, so I think the issue here is that when we start to jump, we actually want to set the state to idle though, right? If we jump, well, if we're not attacking, I guess if we're walking, yeah. If the state is walking, then we want to set yeah. Because if we're attacking, we still want to execute the attack. We don't want to abort the attack by jumping. And then when the attack is over, it's going to set it to idle, and then it's going to set it to the jump thing. Wait, play component. But the jump action is gonna sort of cancel the walk state and go into the jump animation. Yeah. One second here. Okay, so let's see. Wait. Oh yeah, and also if we're already idle, but then we enter a jump. Okay, so actually what we could do is we could go to yeah, because this is getting kind of convoluted. So what I want to do is I want to go to update animations, so player animations. And if we haven't changed the state, here we can check if we're on the ground, or if we're not on the ground, and last frame we were on the ground. So that means that we're basically now jumping or falling, I guess. This is the first frame that we're actually jumping or falling. So we can set the state to idle. Because we haven't changed the state, this should be safe to... Well, actually, this could actually cancel an attack. I guess we want to check if our state is idle first. And if the state... Wait, if the state is idle, then we do something, otherwise we return. So we don't want to return in that case. Yeah, let's remove this. So in case this, so let's see, has jumped, it's gonna be this, is idle, so if we yeah, so everything is and. So if we haven't jumped, jumped is idle. If we haven't changed the state and this is false, has jumped and is idle, we want to return. So if we change the state, then we're going down and deal with that. Or we could have jumped, because that's not a state, sort of. Well, in the same way. If we have jumped and we are idle, then we can set the animation to jump, which we're doing there. But if we are attacking and jumping, we still want to keep the attack animation going, and then going to jump animation when we're done attacking. Yeah, and we still don't play the jump animation. But if we attack and then jump, we actually get the jump animation. And then we don't actually exit. So we also need to know if we've landed as well. Has landed. So if we're not on the, well, if we are on the ground, and if we're not on the ground last frame, that means we've landed. So we also want to check, and if we've not landed and is idle, I guess. So this is gonna be has jumped or has landed. In both of those cases, we want to yeah, update the animation. Yeah, so we landed. So let's go into jump animation, and there we land, but we still don't exit that animation. Oops. Okay. I think. So what is that? So we land. This should then be true. And we are also idle, I think. Yeah, because we haven't changed it to walking. So it should go in here into idle. And set it to this. I want to see like in real time where this is going to set enemy to idle. So let's see. I'm gonna move the window a little bit so I can see. Oops. Oh yeah, I can't actually. I'm gonna move it this down. Okay. I'm not seeing actually anything. It's not going into that thing. Okay, now it set it to idle, but it doesn't set it when we're landing. So okay. Or yeah. Let's just see. So we want to return if this is false. This is kind of yeah. Sometimes this trips me up, like the Boolean logic here. But if we have jumped or has landed, we wanna. So when do we want to update? Need or should update animation. And this is gonna be if we have jumped or if we have landed and we are also idle, right? And then we want to return if we shouldn't update the animation, right? I mean, there might be something wrong with last on ground. So. It does update correctly after a walk, but that's because the state has changed. But not when landing. So I'm just gonna do this. If has landed is true, I wanna just log that has landed. Let's also do for has jumped. I'm pretty sure it's gonna say false. Oops, I need to. Well, yeah, those are just gonna be. So let's put those there. And we'll see what it says. I'll try it once here. Okay. Has landed, so no, has jumped. Yeah, it doesn't work. Is it because these haven't been updated yet? Maybe there might be a timing issue here. This is done basically after everything here. Okay. So I think that could be the issue then. I guess might be. Yeah, so I think yeah, this is where we actually have the correct state. So I think what we'll do is we'll add a couple of things here. So this will be frame for the duration of the frame. These variables should be like set to whatever they should be. So I think has landed. We add them here instead. So has landed and has jumped. And then we populate them in that step. So we populate them here. So has landed is going to be if we are on the ground and if last frame, if the last frame we are not on the ground, then we have landed, and we have jumped if we are not on the ground and last frame we are on the ground. Okay, so that should get the correct the correct values each frame after update physics has been called, which is called first here, so everything else should be able to depend on that. Now let's go in here and use that instead. So this would be player, yeah, oops, and yeah, we don't need to look at this, I don't think. Okay, let's try again. Yeah, still need to fix that issue. Let's restart and try again. Okay, so jumping. Okay, now we enter the jump state. Oh, we don't enter the landing state or the idle state once we've landed. Curious. Did I do this correctly here? We've landed if we're on the ground and we're not on the ground last frame. Yeah. Oh wait, are we messing with this in here as well? Yeah, I think it might be. Here we're setting this to true. I think, yeah, we're setting it here as well, and that's to prevent this sound from playing multiple times, but maybe we don't actually need to do it here, actually. But we do need, yeah, this is because we only want to play the sound if we have this set to, or if the velocity, so, and that we get from the collision. So I don't want to like keep that around and play it later. So what we'll do is we'll set this state here instead. I mean, we are setting a bunch of other states here as well, so let's set those things here instead, and let's go back, whoops, to here, and yeah, that should be more consistent. Okay. Right, now we don't get it either. Oh, well, we might not get it every frame. Let's see if this... Okay, so this is... Well, yeah, I guess this is only set... Okay, I see. This is so complicated. So this, yeah, okay. This is where we check for ground collision. So it's basically just here where we can check if we have landed. I guess we'll only check for landed here. Yeah, this is basically where we have landed, so this is gonna be true. And if we have jumped, but that doesn't really, we can't really check that here. maybe this is checked then after here. So, oops. Maybe we can actually use, well, set it here because on ground should be actually correct. This could be false. I think this, yeah, let's see. Okay, there we go. Now we got both when we land and when we jump. Okay, and if we attack and jump, we're also gonna reset. If we jump and attack, yeah. Okay, cool. That works now, so let's tick that off. Player jump animation works. Alright, so now we need the double jump animation. Yeah, so let's go here. We'll have this as a starting point. So here we're setting this to double jump. We'd probably need to have some sort of state for this. In that case, like has played, double jump, or a timer for. Actually, I think this is where we actually play the jump animation like it's gonna end. Yeah, because this is where you kind of release the button. Okay, I'm just gonna go against my structure here. I'm gonna check here. Are we in idle mode? If we are in idle mode, then well, actually, let's just do this. Let's do. I don't know. This feels like we're painting ourselves in a flaggy corner here, but I'm just gonna have play double jump animation and play double jump end animation. Okay. So there might be other ways to do it, but I'm just gonna do it like this. Okay. This is play double jump animation is true. So why am I not getting this anymore? Player. Okay. And here we do basically the same thing. If the state is idle, we want to do the end animation, but it's all, we only want to do it once though. So I guess we'll check later if we are already playing it and then we don't need to play it again. Okay. Let's do update animations. So here we can say if we want to wait. We need also here to check. Yeah, we need to be idle. So this is like or play double jump animation or play end animation. Okay, so then we get in here and then we check here. So if play this animation, we set this to false and we do whatever. And then if play end, we set it false as well. And then we know, otherwise, we know that we want to play the normal animation. So let's just play that. Here, this is going to be double jump start. And this is going to be double jump end. Okay. But the issue still is that this is going to play like basically every other frame or every frame, because we don't have a way to know here. So it's going to be set every frame. So so actually, yeah, we'll check here. Should play double jump end animation. This is getting really convoluted here, but I'm just gonna fix it like this and maybe we'll see a pattern and solve it later. But this should be if this is true and the current animation, which is down here. So let's move this up here now. The current animation this is a pointer, right? So we can do equal on this. If this is equal to the animations get, and this would be double jump end, so this returns a pointer to animation serialize. Yes. Okay. Yeah. So now we have should play this. So this is only true if we should play, if this is on and the animation is if it's not equal to this. So now we can do should play this instead here. Okay. And of course nothing happens. I see a little flash. Oh yeah, and also if we go to, we should also not play this when wait, yeah, we should not set this to true if we're already, or we should only set it to true if we have actually done a double jump. So we need to add that as a factor here as well. Right, so now we have that, but it didn't play the animations, so That's curious. And this should definitely happen. The handle input should definitely happen before update animations, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So the state should be set when we get down there. The state should be idle. And also, when we do double jump animation, we should also like hide these as well. So we actually only want to show them in idle and in normal jump. Otherwise, we actually want to hide these. So that should be a difference that we can see. So let's see if we actually go in there now. Ah. No. Well, you can see something happening, but it goes back into the normal thing again. Let's see if we actually go in here and see all of these things. So let's do is if we are idle, I wanna log should play double jump and animation. Okay. Should update animation. Okay. Let's start there, I think. And I need to move my window a little bit. Oh. So it like infinitely goes into should update animation, which is bad. So it always goes into should update animation. So let's see more what's happening. So let's just check all of this. Let's check has jumped, has landed. Oops. Has jumped. Yeah, I guess that's it. Or we can also check if player has changed state. Has jumped. Wait. Oh. Player. Okay, I want to move my window again. Maybe I should always have it in this position. so I can see the logs. Well, you can't see it, but I'm moving my window so I can see the log at the same time. Okay, so it always goes into has landed here. I had an inkling that that would actually be the case, so that's not good. And we're setting it to true here. Oh, because we're not setting it to false anywhere else, so that's probably the issue. Let's whoops. Yeah, let's go here and we'll set, yeah, we'll do the same thing here. So we'll do has landed is false. Okay. Okay, now that looks a lot better. Okay. Okay, so it works most of the time. I would say it works if you release the button quick enough, it works. But if you hold it and then release, which is actually, this is kind of how I wanted it to be, like at the start. But I thought that it's gonna be like a two-way upgrade. So it's gonna be like, first you're just gonna have this small boost, then it will disappear immediately. But then you're gonna be able to upgrade it to be able to like double jump and then also glide like a paraglider. But I want this first thing to disappear. Maybe even once you've reached the top of the jump. Or maybe it's just gonna be a continuous animation instead, actually. Yeah. I wonder why it doesn't work though, but because it's gonna work sort of like that. Like as long as you hold the button, it's gonna still be out. The leaf. It's gonna still hold on to the leaf, but once you let go, it's gonna like dissipate and fall. But it doesn't actually disappear though. So let's go to handle input. Wait, where's jump? Here. So it doesn't go in here. Oh, you know what? It's because... No, wait, not here. Here. So it doesn't go in here because of this part. We're only going in here if the velocity, if the y component of the velocity is negative. So that means if it's going upwards. So if it's going downwards, then we don't actually do this. So I think we need this. If it's not, if the jump input is not on and we're not on the ground, and if we have double jump, I guess this would always be true if the if we're not on the ground. So I don't think we need to check that, but let's do it anyway. If we have double jumped, and in that case we're not climbing either, and I guess we also want to check if the state is idle as well, then we want to do this. Okay, I'm just gonna check this because I probably wanna actually limit this to whenever you have reached the top, it's gonna play the end animation, I think. Yeah, but now... Okay, interesting. It plays it as well. Okay, that might be because we're not resetting the... this one. So we need to reset that. In the start. Could we just do else false here though? I mean, I guess that's sort of what we're doing. I mean, we could just set this to this directly in that case. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And if I try to like jump more, it doesn't do like what is it? It doesn't do the animation again. It doesn't do it again. Okay, nice. If I like spam it, it's just gonna do this. Okay, cool. Next, well, we wanna we wanna make so that he plays the end animation at the top of the thing. So as soon as we've reached negative velocity, we want to play that. So, or I mean positive velocity. So we're gonna grab this and we're gonna say, and this, actually, yeah, so now we don't need to check for this part. We just need to check if the velocity is more than or equal to 0. Which it will be after this is set. So that also means that if you release the button, it's gonna play the animation, the end animation, or if you reach the top, it's gonna also, yeah. So now I hold it down all the way, and it still plays the end animation for that. And then if I release it immediately, he also plays it. Alright. Nice. And if you do it close to the ground, well, if you do it like this, it's gonna just end the animation, but I guess that's fine for now. Yeah. I mean, you could have some sort of lingering animation with the leaf still. Like the leaf could be a separate entity that disappears, but I'm not gonna do that right now. I might improve that later, but let's write that down as like improvement here. So small improvement, make leaf own entity. I guess it could be its own entity when it dissipates, or whatever you call it. Disappears when it's destroyed, so that the animation is not aborted. Okay. I'm not gonna care about this. This is like, yeah, when you jump, when you do double jump, you kind of hold on to this leaf. So where do your shield and weapon go? But I'm not gonna I'm not gonna deal with that right now. But That's also one thing that we can think about if we want, or we can just ignore it and move on. Okay, so now we got double jump. Nice. I just want to test it again here. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So let me take a sip here. Okay. Now we have a bunch of options what we could do next. We could start to work on the global state. So I think right now if we go into and we take damage and then oops, yeah, we really need to fix this as well, but I need to do that like off stream because I don't have a good way of fixing that. We take a damage and then so now you can see at the top left we have one missing heart. We do a scene transition and we get full heart again because we're basically resetting everything. So yeah, so this would fix that. Is what I was gonna say. So we would store the player health and everything that we need to store between scene transitions, and also in like a save state, I guess, is also a way of looking at it. Yeah, so we can just create like the initial thing with that. So what would we call it? I mean, we could call it global state or persistent state. Maybe it's more like technically accurate here. Persistent state. I think that's how you spell it. Okay. So let's just grab all of this for now. And we can start with, I guess, player health. I guess we could just bring in like the health component maybe. I don't think we really need the entire player structure here. So the health component has these things. These doesn't really matter from that perspective, I guess. But yeah, let's just bring in this thing. So I think let's do this as a like subtype here. So we'll have this here as a struct, and we'll do health. So I guess we can just grab the health component. And what we could do is make maybe some like convenience functions for updating the persistent state. And we could do that like when you want to save, or when you do maybe a scene transition, or you want to update the global state. But you don't always want to, like, I don't think it's necessary to update the global state like every frame with the latest information. It's just like certain events is going to update this data. So we could have one like update which would happen on a scene transitions. Yeah. And we need persistent state, but then we also need the registry, the ECS registry here. And let's also grab the player entity. Wait. Pub. Oh yeah, function. Okay. Now we can grab the health component from the registry like this, and then we can simply, well, yeah, and then we can simply say self.player.health is equal to that. Okay. And we might need to dereference this one, but I think, yeah, we can do get const. So that would return this as a constant and not a pointer. Okay. Yeah, so we could do this when we do a scene transition. And then I guess we could do like a restore, so that the state of this player will be put into the scene again. So we'll grab this, the registry and the player, and then we can say we grab the health component. Now we need to do get from the player, and now we can restore that. We can say the contents should be self player health. Okay, now we're restoring the data. So on a transition you would call this to save the transition and this to restore it to this game state. And you can also use this when loading and saving. I guess we could call it save and load as well. Maybe. I don't know, let's call it store and restore, because it's not quite like saving and loading a save file or something like that. Because it's only regarding this, like, part of that. This is part of saving and loading a save file, but it's not like, it doesn't have the full thing of that. Okay, what else can we do now? I don't think we can do anything else right now for that. Okay, so I think, yeah, player health is basically the only thing that we store right now. But we can add stuff here later. So let's go to where do we go? One second here. Okay. Yeah, so let's put this into our game struct. And we need to import that. So this would be persistent data, I think we called it, or persistent state. Sorry. Same thing, basically. Okay. Let's see. Let's just put it here. Persistent state. And let's see where we need to add this. I like this feature that you have to, like it's you have to, of course, it's not automatically set to undefined. You have to actually define these things. Even though you can't set it to undefined if you want, but you have to set it so that you actually can catch these things. Let's do init. Let's have an init function. And this would be persistent state. And we return that. And the player. Let's just set this to undefined because we need to actually store that. Oh yeah, that's right. Let's have an init function here as well, yes. Now this could be, I mean, let's just do undefined, and then we could pass in the stuff, but I think for the initialize function, I usually have these when you sort of start a state, many things are undefined, but then when you do a load of a scene, it's gonna populate things. So this is just to create sort of the space for it, I guess. And then we actually initialize it later. So, and I guess you could move the responsibility of that here, so you could say it's undefined first and then you initialize it with the things that you need later, I guess. But then there's gonna be like a huge amount of stuff that we're gonna be doing, so maybe not. No, I just do it like this for now. Actually, couldn't we just return undefined here? We don't really. Well, no, because now we're sort of, we are defining this container here, right? But the container needs to be populated. So we define sort of this basic structure, and then we can use store to actually populate it with meaningful data, and then restore when we wanna transition. So let's now go to game, and we should do init here. When we deinitialize, we don't really need to do anything there yet. I don't, yeah. There's no point in deinitializing yet, so we do have initial load. We could include store here, maybe. No, we can't, because we don't have player yet. So we do want to... Yeah, so now there's a distinction here between loading and transition. I think after the load we want to do a restore. And we want to do a store before unload here. So it's only going to be at the transition. It's also going to be when you save, I think. Because you can reuse the structure, the persistent data structure when you save, I think. So we'll just save all what's in that structure, and that's the save file. Okay, so let's do game persistent data, or state, sorry. We do a store here, so that we save that. And we need those things. Then we can do restore down here. And this is going to be that. Oops. Okay. Now technically we should have the global state working. So if we test this now and we get hurt and we transition, we should see that it should be saved, sort of. Yes, great. And I mean, another way to actually make it be restored, I guess, would be to not remove the player stuff and just keep that around. But I mean, you're not always gonna have that luxury. If, like, let's say you're saving or restoring or loading a game state, and you want to do that, if it's fast, then I think it should be fine. I'm just testing it with you if I have any issues. I've been thinking about the AI a little bit to improve. I want to improve the AI of these guys a little bit more. But I'm not gonna do it this stream though. They are still a little bit too easy to kill. I think I want to make their attacks faster. Yeah. And I'm not sure about the whole like shield blocking up and down thing either. But anyway, that's not for this stream. So nice. Now we've got some basic global state working. So let's actually tick that off here. We do have player health. That's just the start. So great. We got that. Now another thing that I want to work on is NPCs and dialogue system and the menus and quests and more monsters and a bunch of other stuff. But yeah, so there's a lot of things to get to, which is great because I was kind of in a state where I wasn't sure actually what to work on, but now we know plenty of stuff to work on. So we don't have any new graphics for new NPCs, but I do have ideas for NPCs that I want to add. And the dialogue system. So the dialogue system is going to have, maybe this is what we want to work on next. So the dialogue system as of now is basically you define in the metadata for the entities, you define what they want to say. But this is not going to be that great for workflow. I think what's better is I'm gonna define a structure for dialogues in the game code, and that structure is gonna have sort of dialogue options, and each option is like we're gonna keep track of which option you have already chosen, so which option the player has already seen, and then when you see those options, that's gonna be like grayed out, and you can choose them again if you want. So when you talk, so if I take it from the start here, when you talk to an NPC, they're not just gonna say whatever. Well, they might say like a greeting or something, but then you can choose between different dialogue options. So that's just gonna be like, you know, what topics can you talk to this person about? There's not gonna be like multiple like choices things right now. Like you can answer, like you say you choose a topic and then the NPC says something like, I don't know, what do you think of blah blah blah, and then you can choose it's horrible, it's perfect. So that we're not gonna have that right now, but we do want to have the initial, you choose between options, and then that is basically gonna start just a stream of text that you can go through, and yeah, and then you go back to the dialogue options again. And also between the dialogue options, you're gonna have quests available. So that's gonna be like special dialogue options where you can get new quests. So for that we're gonna need the quest system. But we could start to work on the dialogue system and then add that later when we actually have the quests available. I mean, I guess we could make everything if we want, but I think it's better to have the quests. I think what we'll do is we'll start working on the dialogues to make dialogue options available, and also have dialogues with multiple like text messages, so it's not just one. And then once that is done, we'll start working on this quest data structure to get that done, so you can actually get quests and stuff like that. And then once that is done, we can add available quest options for the dialogues, so that you can pick a quest. They're gonna explain the quest. You're gonna pick, do I want to take the quest or do I not want to take the quest? Or maybe you just automatically get the quest. Maybe you can't even choose. I don't know. I'm not sure. But yeah, that's the basic idea. Another quest is basically just, it can be whatever. And then also notifications. So I think that I want to have a pop-up box or whatever, something that shows like if the quest is completed, if you are progressing towards. That might be like a different sort of notification. Maybe it's displayed on screen at all times. I'm not actually sure. Maybe you can have like you're tracking one quest, sort of like in Breath of the Wild. You're tracking a quest, or well, many games have this, but you're tracking one quest or several quests, and the progress is displayed on screen at all times. And if you partially complete one, you get a little, it might do some animation or something that shows that this has updated. When you receive a quest, that's also like, that could be a notification, like just to confirm that you're on this quest now, because you could get the quest from either talking and accepting a quest from an NPC, or you could get a quest from whatever event could happen, like you find some quest item out in the wild and you start a new quest from that. So you could get new quests, however, in many ways. And then let's see, and then I also thought about, okay, what if we had a notification that's something like, now there's more things available in the village, or now there's more quests available in the village, like something like that, which would make it obvious that, okay, I should go back to the village and check out if there's some like new things happening there. But I'm not sure if we, like, I would have to like implement all this and see if it's actually something that we want to have, or if we want to keep it more cryptic, or So I mean, I like quality of life, but I also like immersion. So I think you want to find maybe a good balance of that, I guess. But for quests, it's often like, well, the main quest is obviously going to be very obvious that you're doing, but then you have like other stuff that's like not necessarily are quests per se, but it's like puzzles that you solve that you get reward from, that doesn't necessarily have to be a quest. Anyway, I'm rambling here, but and then we also have menus. So we're gonna have like a quest or adventure log that you're gonna see all your quests. So there's a lot of things to do, and I need to figure out more monsters. I want to balance the difficulty of the existing monster. We only have one monster type. I need to do graphics for the forest area. So there's a lot of things going on. Let's see if we can do something else here to progress. Maybe we should start on the dialogues. Yeah, that feels like a logical step to take now. Now we need to add. So one thing that I want to change is like the metadata for the NPCs. They're gonna have just in the editor, they're just gonna have like a type or a ID or something like this, where you just specify this is that NPC. They're gonna be unique. So each NPC is gonna be unique. They're gonna have separate dialogues and everything, and none of that is gonna be stored in the metadata. Instead, the metadata is only gonna contain this is the ID that this is going to be. So for example, if we're going to have this NPC called Elder, then the ID could be Elder, and that's the ID that you put into the game editor. And then in the game code, we take that and we check, okay, is this the Elder? Okay, then we populate that NPC with all the dialogue that the Elder is going to have. So yeah, that's going to be that. And yeah, and then we also need a way to store that global state as well, for like which dialogues have you done. Maybe the NPC has a specific event that's going to happen. Maybe it gets moved around but in different areas, whatever. So there might be a lot of things happening with these things that should probably be saved in the global state. But enough talking. Let's try and do some dialogue stuff. So we'll take small steps, baby steps here. So I think I want to do that first. I want to go to the metadata for. I don't think we have like NPC metadata. So this is not going to have message anymore. It's just going to have ID that we talked about, and this does not have a message anymore, so we're not really going to be able to figure this out right now. The dialogue, I'm just going to say is hi for now. Yeah. Alright. So that's it there. Now we need to use ID in metadata to determine NPC stuff state. Alright. Now another thing is I want to go to NPC and I want to add a name here. Okay. And the name we can just grab from outside here. Okay. So that's basically it there. And yeah, now let's go back here. Now we do have this init NPC. I think we want also this. So it's actually, instead of grabbing this, we're actually gonna we're just gonna grab out the ID in the same way we did the message, and then we pass that in here. So this would be the ID here instead. Alright. And I guess the position is from the editor, which is fine. That's sort of the initial position, I guess. Maybe the editor you could have some metadata in the editor, like where should the NPC be at this stage in the game or this stage in the game. So you could add, like, we add an NPC here, but it's only for this specific stage in the game. So that could be it, because then you can visually position the NPC, which is what I'm using the editor for. Okay, and yeah, let's see. Yeah, so we don't have the dialogue yet. Let's just put that in there. ID is not used, so let's remove these debug messages. We don't need that. Okay. So a couple of things is gonna be like the texture is gonna depend on the ID. We're gonna grab like a little kit, I guess you could call it, kit that will sort of populate the state of the NPC based on what ID is gonna be. So perhaps we can go to here and we can say NPC, I don't know what to call it, like init. Yeah, let's just call it like this for now. So this would have a bunch of things that are gonna determine what state we're gonna, or what like components and stuff we're gonna add to the NPC in terms of dialogue components and textures and all of that. So let's have, so first off we have name, and I think then we're gonna have the texture, and probably yeah, let's just do texture and dialogue, and this would be like an entire dialogue component, I think, because we need to have this state in there. I guess it's sort of the state that you need to create a dialogue component, maybe. Because you have both the sort of initial state, and then you also have the wait. Let's just do it very simple. So where were we? NPC dialogue. Let's just add like the entire dialogue component here. No, not the system. Okay. So we will actually, and then in the init function we'll grab the ID here. Okay. So this will sort of be our definition of the different things. So actually what we could do, we could create a substruct here, which are the NPCs. And those are going to be, so we're gonna have elder. So this is going to be, actually this could just be like a union enum, I guess. Yeah, then we can convert ID to a tag here and just use that. Or yeah, we could just do So this would return this, I think. Yeah. And then we do return NPCs dot. Well, no. Wait. This. You don't need this. What you want to do is you want to say, I want a function that initializes entity. So we'll grab this entity here and the registry. Right. And then this is responsible for adding whatever or initializing the entity with whatever we need there. And then the init is just gonna be, oh yeah, and then here we also need the ID as well. And then here this is gonna be responsible for creating this data that we need to store them in. I think that makes sense. So let's just, actually we don't need this init function. Well, actually let's have this init function. I will just do this. Init name equals name, texture equals texture, dialog equals dialog. There we go. Now right. Yeah, so this would be NPC init. Wait, is this how you want to do? Is this how you do it? Could you say equals here? Explicitly value tag union missing integer tag type. Maybe it's a union and not a union in yeah, and then it misses the type. No, it's not a union. It's just I think it's just like this. Wait, but then it yeah, and then we do this, right? And then it's like the elder texture is, well, we don't have a texture yet. And then the dialog component and hi, I'm the elder. Okay, will that work? And then so it's kind of like a, well, it's not a tuple, it's just an anonymous struct that we can grab the ID from, or we use the ID to grab that. And then here we'll grab, we'll grab whatever NPC is going to be from NPCs. So what we can do is use field. No, we cannot, because this is not gonna be, this is gonna be runtime. Wait, can this? Yeah, it needs to be compile time string. So could we turn that into a tag? Enum from no. tag. Of, wait, no, it's not a, it's actually not a tag. This is like the field of this type. So this is gonna be like NPCs type. This is gonna be type of NPCs. Okay. So that's a struct with elder. And then we're gonna make let's see if we can do this. I guess we could loop through the fields technically to get the thing. Yeah, field enum is what I want. Yeah. Field enum of NPCs. So this is the field enum. NPCs field enum. Okay. And then let's see. Now this is a type, right? Yes, so it's a type, which is an enum, right? So could we do string to enum, and we need an NPCs field enum, and this is going to be the ID. Is this checking in runtime? Less than 100. Okay, but essentially we're going through, yeah, we're looping through all the fields. So we're making like one if for each, basically one of these ifs for each field. So that was basically what I was thinking of doing first, but yeah, we can use this to do it for us, I guess. So this will grab us the enum value. So this would be the field sort of enum here. And then, well, is this nullable? Oh, so or else we're just gonna crash, I think, with an error message. ID not found. Let's see, NPC ID not found. All right, and then we do process exit. Okay. Right, so now we have the field enum. Now can we use this? So how do we use this now? I forgot. Okay, I'm just gonna look this up because my mind is totally blank right now. I believe I've done this before, but sig string to enum. So I cannot use, wait, let's check this again. And this now becomes right. It's doing field on T to get that. This is all comp time though, right? Yeah, this needs a comp time thing. Oh yeah, because it's checking this is runtime. Yeah. Okay. And we're getting... Actually, maybe it's better to actually do the loop here. I'm not sure actually how to use this now to get the actual field back. So what you could do instead is do your own thing here. So you could do, well, almost your own thing, but you can use fields. So you can use fields of NPCs. This needs to be an inline 4 because it's gonna be expanded here in comp time. So we're gonna check if we have, oh yeah, and we need to capture the field. So if the field name, it does have name because this is a field. Okay, if the field name is equal to the ID, then we return, no, we can call init entity with, which is like a private function, and here we provide the NPC in it. So here we're gonna say field.name. Wait, no, it's the type first. So this is gonna be on NPCs, which is the struct down there. So let's, yeah, we still want to have this condition here because we might do an, I think it's going to be an else at the end. Actually, yeah, so we'll do return, and then if we get here, we say it's not found. Yeah. Okay. So this would go through all the NPCs. Every time we initialize an entity or an NPC entity, it's gonna check the ID against all of the NPCs that exist in the game. It's gonna find the NPCs. It really is not maybe, yeah, it's not that efficient maybe, but yeah, this is how I'm gonna do it initially, and if it's gonna take, if this becomes a bottleneck later, I'm just gonna fix it by having maybe the ID in a more, like what you could do is store it as a, or have a display name, but then the actual ID is gonna be like generated or something like that. So we're gonna match it up later with some sort of data matcher or something. I don't know, but yeah, it's definitely doable to optimize anyway. But yeah, we're gonna go through all of the NPCs, check which one is matching this ID. When we find it, we are going to initialize the entity with that specific data, and we also need to pass these things. Okay, now we need to create this function here. Oops. Oh, so you can actually, there's like a snippet here. That's nice. Is this from the LSP? Yeah. Oh wait, it's just auto-completing the existing function, I guess. Okay, but anyway, I thought that it would like automate the creation of the init function, but it's automating the call of the init function. So this would be init entity with, and this is a private function, and we need to get this, and then we need to get the registry and the entity, and then void, right? So in here we can focus on actually adding the stuff that we need. So we are going to add this AI component. Now we can copy some stuff from game, init npc, and what we can do is we have all these things. Now the animation instance, we can actually set the texture from in there. We could say that the animation is part of that, or we can add the animation from within there. I think we'll just add it from within the thing. Yeah, and animation card texture, we have draw layer component, let's add that there as well. So all of this will be like sort of modifiable within each NPC type. Dialogue component, yes, and this one, yes. And I think physics, we could just add it here. What we'll do is at the end of everything we'll call this function that initializes the entity with stuff. Okay, so that will be all of that. Now we need to grab the container as well. We need the texture as well, so we will need to grab the texture container. Now the texture container is here, game texture container, and I'm gonna make this public, and I'm gonna import that here. Game texture container. We're gonna import that from game, and we're gonna say game texture container, and then we can grab the texture container. Whoops, what's happening here? I've entered some weird Windows shortcut. We got rid of that. Okay, so this is gonna be that. Okay, so now we have the texture container. Now we can say texture container dot get that. Great. We have the animation container as well. Yes. And then we need T. I mean, I guess that's always gonna be like 0. Well, actually no, it's not gonna be 0 at all times, because we might load a new area. That's right. Okay, so init npc. Wait, Okay, and we need draw layer component. And draw layer monster is this, which we don't really have available outside our game right now. I mean, we could just pass game around as well. I guess that would make things easier as well. I've kind of made it so that none of the components or systems actually know about game, but they do know about the registry, so they can grab a bunch of stuff out of the registry. But I could just made it so that game has everything and you can just use that instead. I didn't do that, but you could do it like that instead of just passing registry around, because game actually includes the registry. So, but my idea was that it was gonna be sort of game was originally was gonna be the scene, and well, after a while I realized, wait, this is actually the game structure. So, because then I didn't want everything to depend on this one specific scene, so I just didn't add that to everything. I could, however, do that, but, well, add it like game now. But this is one of the few things that we actually don't have anywhere else, which is the draw layer monster, like the draw layers. This number that we actually, this depends. I mean, we could just store this in the game, but then we don't actually have that. Well, actually, we could do the same as T, or, well, we could just pass it in, I guess. We could pass it in here. So this would be the draw layer for monsters, or NPCs, I guess. Which, let's see what type it is. It's a U32. And we'll just use it there, I guess. So yeah, that solves the issue. No, it's not unused. Or what is unused? NPC in it. Right. But yeah. So init NPC. Right, so here we do, after everything in here, we do NPC init, and we need to grab this. Where do we have NPC? NPC, there we go. So let's grab NPC init from NPC there, and we do init entity with the ID given, the registry we have there, or not seen, sorry, that's old habit, and the entity is going to be, I think it's just called entity here, maybe, yeah. Alright, so now we are initializing the entity from this ID. And we also need to pass some more stuff here, so let's add that as well. Draw layer NPCs. Alright. Still not using NPC init though, but oops, old habits. And then this is going to be draw layer monster. So this requires this function to be called after the layers have been initials, which I believe they are. Yeah, it's sort of basically the first thing that's gonna happen here. Okay, create. Let's save and see where we end up here. So we have a couple of things left to do. So this file should be fine. And then now in here, we need to now use this npc init data to do stuff. So the dialog component we could just grab from npc init directly. There. And then how? So we have npc AI component, which has now a name, which we can do npc init.name. All right. Then what else? Sorry. Okay, so we have name, we have alright, and the texture. So this is gonna be texture. Alright. There we go. Now we do have some things here. No field or number function. Oh, it's not game.drawing, it's just drawing monster, okay. Okay. And now we reach the point where, yeah, you did a bunch of stuff, you solved the errors, and then my mind goes blank. It's like, okay, what did we actually do with this frenzy here? Well, not really frenzy, but yeah. Oftentimes when I've done a lot of things and solved a bunch of issues, and then I go back like, okay, what are we actually gonna test now when all the compiler errors have been fixed? Yeah, so now we should be... yeah, now we should get like an error because the NPCs are not initialized. So let's set the starting area to be the village. So this is gonna be, I think it's called test village. Alright. Now it's gonna crash because our NPCs doesn't have the correct metadata. I'm just gonna test that real quick here, and the error message is gonna come out here somewhere. Oh, we got unknown field. Oh, it's crashing already in, like, we have the incorrect metadata format. So let's fix that. So we'll go to our editor and we'll open up that. And we're gonna switch to test village. Okay. Yeah, so we have one NPC, but it doesn't have the correct format here. So we'll change this ID. It's gonna be ID, and then this is gonna be elder. And we'll save that. And now we can actually try this from here. Okay. So we'll see if the elder has the correct stuff. Maybe we should add a sound to... Oh, we don't actually load in the apostrophe glyph or code point, sorry. Yeah, but this works. Okay, cool. Well, I get some weird... Oh. It's like, yeah, when you press up here, Maybe this is too, like as soon as you touch here, now from here you can actually climb up. Maybe that's too much leniency for climbing up ladders. I'm not sure. But anyway, yeah, so that works. Cool. So our little system there seems to work fine. Now let's go back here and yeah, so now we can define different entities like this. And we can add whatever data that we want for each entity, and we can determine whatever like components that they are going to have depending on the data that we give. So I feel like that's a good start. So for example, for the elder, then we're going to have a specific dialogue component. It's going to have different quests that's going to be added, but I think for that, I don't think that, maybe that's not going to be part of this. Okay, anyway, now the NPC actually has a name and a texture and dialogue. So the name we can actually use to show, well, I want to show the name in the dialogue box. So let's go to our dialogue system. And now in this system, the only thing we have here is like the text that we want to show. But I think also we want to make it a little bit more advanced. So the only thing we have here is showing the text. And that's all we're doing. Maybe we'll compartmentalize this a little bit. Yeah, here we're defining a bunch of stuff. Is the dialogue active? Blah blah blah. We're drawing the rectangle. We're grabbing the font. We're making the text here because it needs to be zero terminated. I guess it could be already zero terminated from the start, and then we don't need to do that to copy it every. Yeah, that seems but I mean, it's not gonna be that huge of a deal, I guess, but because it's probably gonna be a very small amount of text or data. But yeah, well, anyway, never mind, I'm not gonna deal with that. Yeah, so what we would want to do is, well, first of all, we want to access this data if we have sort of a name to the thing. So, I mean, what you could do is, instead of having the NPC component have the name, you could just add a name component so that the thing that's interacting, or the thing that's talking, that has the dialogue component, also has a name, and then the name could be displayed, and then you can have it anywhere. You can have it as a sign, you can have it as a boss that says something, so that whatever is attached to the dialogue is, whatever entity has the dialogue component can also have a name component, so you cannot detach that logic to that. I feel like that's probably a lot better, because name should be shared among not just NPCs but other things as well. So let's add the name component. It's gonna be name equals, yeah, okay, and then yeah, we're just gonna have the name, and that's simple as that. Let's add an init function out of convention. Name, turn name, whoops, name equals name. Okay. And yeah. Right, so now we have a name. And yeah, I mean that's basically it. And let's call it name component just to maybe differentiate a little bit. Okay. And now we can go to NPC and we can still have name here, but instead of having a name on the NPC, and we don't need to have it there, we can just add a name component instead. So we add a name component with the name. Now we don't need to specify that, but we do need to grab the name component from name.sig. There. Alright. So I like that a lot better. Did I say that correctly? Yeah. Or maybe not, I don't know. Okay, now we have the name there. So yeah, and now we can go to the dialogue. And now we can actually grab the name from whatever here. So if we are at the stage of drawing the dialogue component, we can also grab the name if there exists a name. Maybe it's just a box that shows up, I don't know. This is more like a text box component, I guess. We could make it like super general if we want, but no. I'm just gonna do this name component. And let's see, what is this? The target? Yeah, that's the... Yeah, so it should be the same. Yeah, it should be the same. Let's just call this entity, because we often have the entity is sort of the target entity often. Let's just call it that. Whoops. Are we doing anything else with this? No. Okay. We do need to import the name component as well. Alright. So we get the name. Now we can draw it somewhere. If we have it, that is. Now I want to actually see. Let's start this and look at the textile, because I don't remember how it looked. I mean, it's very basic. I don't remember if there was any like... Am I seeing any artifacts? Sometimes my brain, I don't know if I'm seeing things or if it's... Okay. It has a border. I mean, it's gonna have more like other graphics later. I mean, even this is like, I think the pixel size, is that even a full pixel or is it like sub-pixels? I'm not even sure actually. I mean, it almost looks like it's sub-pixely here. If you look at the thickness of the border, so this one, right, we're drawing two rectangles. This adds 4. Okay. 4 will be like half. So we need to actually add 8 to match the pixel size. And that's also one thing with this game. It's like, if you see the player move here, we can actually stop at sub-pixels. So we can stop here halfway between 1 pixel. If you look at the where the shield is, or any part here, I think it looks like the shield is Like you can stop at halfway, yeah, there. So now the player is sort of offset a little bit from the pixel. And I don't know, I might keep it like that. Actually. Okay, yeah, so now this is, now they are like proper size. Maybe it's too large now. Okay, I don't know, I don't care. Whatever. That's not important. So, I mean, it's gonna change later anyway. So, anyway. But I might actually keep that because... yeah, I don't know. I can try fixing that at some point. It's gonna be a hassle though, because we have a lot of places where we... I mean, it's basically gonna be... the positions are not gonna be scaled by the scale, which is 4. Instead, the positions are gonna be not scaled. And then when you draw the things, then it's scaled up. But right now, all the positions and everything is actually scaled by some amount. So, well, I guess since the positions are floating, you can. I guess that's the big issue. Like it's floating. So, yeah. Anyway, but I'll try switching that over at some point, and we'll see how we can deal with that. But anyway, so after we've drawn the rectangle, we could get, so we have the buffer here. We could reuse this buffer. So we will have name here, and this is gonna be the name. I guess if we have it, so if name, we're gonna grab it there, so this is gonna be n. Then we need to measure it. Okay, so we'll measure the text, but this is called name. Then the position we need to calculate. And why is this like white? I don't know, the syntax, yeah, I need to fix my setup, really, is what the issue is here. Okay, anyway, it's not important, so don't lose focus. So the position is, so we take the offset, which is what? The offset is, so it's in the center X, and then the Y is at the top. Yeah, so that's the center of the text box. And then we take this to get like the center of this text. So we'll take the center of the text box. I think we wanted like the top left or something of the text box. So we are gonna do, what's the size of the text box? It's gonna be size. So we're gonna do negative size times half as well. So we can do this, I think. Yeah. Wait, but this is gonna be plus then. All right. And then we're gonna draw this. But I also want to draw a rectangle, which is black. So we're gonna sort of cover that area so that the name has a proper place to be drawn. And this is going to be position size is text size, but I do want to increase it a little bit. So something like 20% or something. And it's gonna be black. And then, yeah, this is name C. Okay, name Z. And then we have position, we have font size, we have spacing and stuff. So yeah. Okay, so now we should be. Wait. Oh. Yeah, now we should be seeing that. Okay, we need a format. Wait, what is this? Oh, that's the main component. So we need dot name. That's a nice catch. Okay. Oops. Let's retest this. Respawn that. Oh, wait. Hi, I'm the elder. Oh. Okay, you can see the elder is like at the top left. Okay, so maybe we don't actually want the text to be centered. And also the rectangle is not drawn at the correct spot. Okay. Oh yeah, because it's not screen. Oh, we don't need. Okay, let's call this. Let's do this. Wait. No, this is the. Yeah, let's just do this. And then screen position is gonna be screen position. And then position. And then this is gonna be screen position. And this is position. Okay, so now the rectangle should be at the correct spot. Let's go to editor and change the spawn place to over here. We'll also move this guy over there. Save and play. It's nice to be able to edit the scene and start at there. Okay, so yeah, that's the bug. So we fell through the ground there. Okay, well, where's the black box though? Oh, it is there, but it's like offset. Okay. Okay, let's go back here and right. So what we want to do is we want not the text size here. Okay. I think that makes sense. But we wanna maybe we'll move it inwards a little bit. So we'll move it by X, like, I don't know, 16. Let's use X. And so to get a little bit of sort of padding there. And then wait, should we do crazy game, bro? Yeah. Thanks. How long have you been working on this? Well, I started, when was that? I mean, it must have been, I mean, it's a couple of months at least, I think. Well, hasn't gone that fast, the time? I'm not working full time on it though, but in my spare time. I don't remember exactly when I started. But welcome. hours. I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, let's say whatever number I'm gonna come up with is gonna be inaccurate, but yeah. Like a couple of hours here and there, mostly every day, but not every day, but for maybe 1 or 2 months or something like that. But I mean, it's my first sort of. I'm not used to making games, so it's like my first sort of venture into really starting a project. So it's a learning experience as well. Yeah, thanks. Well, I'm a web developer normally, so I have about 10 years of professional experience in web development, but I've always been interested in making games, so I've been learning stuff here and there, and yeah, now I actually made the decision to actually start for real and try to do something. Are you game dev? Mostly JS. Yeah, I mean, I guess, well, TypeScript more than JavaScript, but yeah, and then, you know, you got C#, .NET, Node, a bunch of host of different things. Yeah, SIG is really nice. I'm loving it, SIG. Yeah. How long have you been learning SIG for? Yeah, little unit stuff. Nice. Last week. Okay. Cool. And you like it so far, or? I think they also they're very recently, or like a month ago or a couple of weeks ago, they released a new version, 0.14, but I'm using 0.13 now. So, and it's a little bit different. It's mostly the same, but I'm probably gonna upgrade to the new version when they release like the next version, like a stabilized version. Let's see, so now the position, now it should, and this one should be scale, I think. Do we have scale? No. Let's do ×4. I programmed in Python before. Alright. Yeah. That's a good starting language, I think. To get, like, you know, programming, general programming skills. But I mean, of course, it's a bit different with manual memory management and static typing and stuff. Okay, let's see where we are right now. Okay, so the box is a bit off still. Why is it like at the edge? We're adding there. Oh, okay, wait, no. So what type of project have you been working on in Python? Position. So why would it not go to the right? Right, because the center is probably... Okay, hang on. This needs to be... we need to add text size times half there, but only x, right? Don't know. Yeah, I think only x, and then the x component of the size times half. The images for the whole game. Do you mean the graphics? I made all graphics myself. It's, I mean, it's not the final graphics. It's just it's sort of like a placeholder. But I am learning to do like pixel art in the meantime. Like it's fun. Okay, now the text is wrong though. Oh, you started programming early last year. Okay, cool. Yeah, it's do you like it? I basically just did lead code and went to hackathons. Nice. So you're like self-taught, going to internship, web scraping. Okay. Yeah, I mean, if you like it and you want to keep going, and yeah, you have to start somewhere, right? Okay. Wait. So why is... Oh wait, I'm getting a call here. 1 second. Sorry about that. I might do masters in computer science if possible. Okay, nice. I mean, yeah, I went to. I mean, I'm not from. I'm from Sweden. I went to school. What do you call it? I don't know. We call it high school, but I'm not sure if it's if it's the same. I mean, it's sort of like university. And it's like yeah, so we go 9 years in elementary school and then 3 years in something called gymnasium, which is like, yeah, it's just a little bit harder, I guess. And then after that is the university or high school or whatever. Högskola, yes. Welcome, Oliver B-Man. Yeah, University College, yeah. Yes, I went 3 years, which is like it's not masters, I guess. The masters here is like 5 years. Well, I guess it depends on which education you're going, but so I went 3 years to university. But I felt like, I mean, sure, it gave you sort of a, if you haven't like programmed, but before that I was like self-taught, so I felt like the university, sure, you learned sort of a lot of stuff, but you weren't nearly productive enough to start working, I felt. So when you're going out to actually get a job, you have to still learn a bunch of stuff. Computer science, yes. But it was like a broad thing, so it's like it was like embedded programming and web development, but like basically all different areas, very shallow but very broad as well. So you could search for a bunch of different jobs with that. Yes, I'm working on the dialogue system. I have sort of a rudimentary thing, but I have sort of like a text box, but I'm working on just adding a name label to it right now. So now the text box. Whoops. Yeah, there's a bug there where the physics system simulates when the window is like sort of paused and everything falls through. So I need to fix that, but here is the dialogue, and I'm adding this name thing at the top left. No worries, ask away. Are you working on a particular engine? So yeah, I made a physics engine following sort of a video series, and I'm using Raylib for rendering and sound and music and stuff like that. And then I'm using an ECS library to create like entities and components and stuff. Could you also make 3D games with SIG? Yes, you can. There are a bunch of different options for that. I've not tried it myself because I'm focusing on this 2D stuff. This is sort of like my first serious attempt at a game, so I'm keeping it simple here. But yeah, I've definitely seen people doing 3D stuff. But I would suggest maybe if it's your first sort of thing, maybe that's a bit ambitious. I don't know. But go for it if you feel up to it. How come you don't use Unity or Godot? Well, I wanted to have like full control of everything basically. So I wanted to make it in SIG first of all, so it's sort of like a project to both learn SIG and also make my own stuff, because I feel like SIG has given me. I feel like I lost like sort of a little bit of passion for programming, since I wanted to get into game dev, but I'm actually working with web development. So when I discovered SIG, it actually sparked the passion back to me. So I wanted to use SIG, and I've started up like a bunch of different game dev projects in the past, but I always lose like motivation and stuff. But this is like the first project that I'm actually trying to actually push through and make for real. So, and since I have control of everything, I'm not gonna get into a situation where, oh, the game engine has like a limitation here, or you have to figure out within the sort of square box which is the game engine to how do I do this thing, or how do I do this thing. You can just imagine up some stuff and you just program it yourself if you want, like, because I'm making the tool as well to make the game. So I have this editor as well. And I've taken sort of the approach of making the minimal thing that you can do first and then just build on that as the need arises. So I've taken it slow and I've built things. So this is sort of like a time map editor, and also I have this scene editor which you can place like entities and stuff in the time map. And it's fun, which is a really good motivation to do it. So it's like, it's not just making a game, it's also like the programming. I have passion for programming also, so that's like why I'm doing it like this, I guess would be the answer, the short answer to that. Will you be putting it to Steam? Well, if it gets done, I would love to put it on Steam. Zero AI building stuff. Well, I haven't used AI. I'm not using AI for programming, and I'm not using AI for like generating like graphics or anything like that. I have used AI for maybe trying to figure out. Well, actually, no, I haven't actually used AI anything. This, like some concept art maybe, but it's like very limited. But I was thinking of maybe if I want to have like generating some sort of backstory for a character or something, you could use AI for that, and then like modify the story or whatever. I don't have the engineering science background, so it feels daunting to make your own system like this. I mean, yeah, it is daunting, but I think the main issue there is if you start on it and you don't like think, okay, I'm gonna have this super fancy system in a week or something, but you kind of keep motivation to keep building, and then you also be realistic about what ambition you have and what goals you're setting for yourself. So, and then you keep pushing the goals forward, or I mean, you keep adding new goals. You complete the goals that you have and you add new goals, and then over time it's gonna accumulate and you'll end up with stuff like this. But even this is like very limited in what it can do, and I'm just using it as a sort of visual aid to put like entities and stuff. The time map editor is starting to become pretty nice to use. The scene editor is basic, just here is an NPC which is but you cannot define anything else with that sort of thing. It's just and then I take that data into the game code, which will then fill out the game with this data, so to speak. It's sort of more like defining data to use in the game code. Yeah, I mean, definitely. And you build this like adding things to portfolios. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Okay, so are you also self-taught, Oliver B. Man? I have to actually leave in a couple of minutes here, but it's really nice having people joining here and talking here. I don't think I'm gonna get to solving this right now. But that's adding that. Should I also... mostly unit work. Okay, cool. So for have you worked for a company or something, or? Yeah, it's no problem. I like talking to people and answering questions and stuff. Hobby work only. Okay, cool. Yeah, but I felt like the number one problem with making a game or something like a big project like this is like the motivation to keep going, because you can get stuck a lot of times, and of course if you are new to programming, that will happen more often, so you will actually and that, I mean, that takes energy, and yeah, you're gonna have to have like super high patience to be able to like and that's why you need to set your ambition level to a realistic level at all times. So yeah, and kinda I started this project knowing that yeah, it's gonna be huge in terms of content, I think, but I'm limiting myself to thinking, okay, I'm gonna start with just a demo area, so it's just gonna be like, you know, this small kind of thing, and then we'll see if it actually grows into something larger. But I hope so. I do right now. I have a lot of motivation for this. I think Unity helps me not get stuck in the same way, especially since there is such a big knowledge base on it and such. But it sounds like a very good mindset. Okay, yeah, that's true. I mean, getting help helps, of course, a lot. If you get stuck, yeah. I mean, yeah, like common sort of problems that you encounter in the game dev is probably someone has solved it and you can search for it and get the answer. But I mean, it also helps if you know if you're getting a solid understanding of programming, and you can and then you can like, okay, how do I solve this issue, and you come up with a solution that is solid in both like the implementation and optimization, and then you can like, okay, that kind of limits what you can do if there is no answer to your question, I guess, as well. So you can, if you get a solid understanding of programming, you can do a lot of things, I guess is what I'm trying to say, without help as well. I always find it more satisfying to find my own solution since it shows to understand the system. Yeah, that's I mean, when I started programming, that was like the best feeling. It's like you've sat and dealt with a problem, and you're hitting brick wall after brick wall, and then all of a sudden you make something and it works, and then it's just like, oh my god, it works, and it's like the best feeling, and that's when I got hooked on programming. Not just that feeling, but it's like very interesting in itself as well. What I feel. Yeah, but I have to go now. But it was really nice talking to you guys. Thanks very much for joining me here and chat a little bit. Good luck in your ventures, and hope I'll see you another time. So, yeah, that's gonna be it. So, bye bye. Nice talking to you too. Bye.